the Elusive Samurai. Kevin.
One of the things that like really got me is like the character design for this show.
Okay.
I'm a big character design person.
Yeah.
And so like just the OP I think is a great encompassing of like all you see like the scroll past all these characters faces, and all these background characters have very unique distinct faces, and you can tell like that guy's a scumbag, that guy's heroic, and so it's like it really gets across to you like all these characters' personalities just through visuals alone. And Ashikaga Takuiji, he's based on a historical figure.
I mean, a pretty big one. I think he was the only one that I knew of.
And like just through his designs alone, it's like it really impactful. Like in that first episode, that first scene when he's still loyal to the Hojo, you only get a few seconds with him, like a minute or so, but he leaves
the eyes.
His eyes and the chin and the hair, flowing hair. You really get like this is an important person. And it's great. I thought for one thing the scene where we see from the point of view the brother who meets up with the uncle and the betrayal of the uncle
with the face
that slow turning and the fire purple flames and it's like I'm a big fan of kabuki theater and color is a big thing in kabuki, and like purples and blues are usually sign of demonic and demons and so like you get this like this man is no longer a man, he's a demon. And
that motif appears even in the fight with the horns.
That's like I cannot like praise the character designer of the series enough. Like it is so good. So this is great. What about you, dude?
For me, what stuck out was how things were shaded, especially in the character designs. I feel like a lot of issues with shows that, especially with how many shows just get churned out nowadays. Characters, the shading of characters can be very bland and uninteresting. Where in full light, it's a palette. It truly is a palette of colors that you see, and you're just treated to this. Like while you're watching the show, and you're like, it's beautiful, and you're like, this is why we watch these shows, you know, to see things like this.
And just to interject, like two scenes that really stuck in my mind, just in the first episode, is the scene where Tokayuki is kind of like frantically running through the village that's on fire, and you see the inferno around him. And I always am a stickler for the way animators choose to animate fire. And I immediately, you know, I get like visions of like Ghibli films, like The Wind Rises. They have a couple of fire scenes, or The Boy and the Heron. In this scene, they really give you a sense like the fire has life. It is itself a character. And the way they do the coloring, and then the people burning in the inferno. And another scene that like art style wise that was like really beautiful is where he goes back to the village after it's burned down, and it's like it's got like a charcoal drawing
of the background. Oh my god, I wanted to get that a little later, but the backgrounds of this, you talked a lot about how the anime is defined by its detailed backgrounds. God damn, are the backgrounds of this show and fucking amazing.
I immediately thought, it's like, man, this is like Princess Kaguya, the way they did that.
It's like, it's the second episode I think was the strongest, where like you have the backgrounds of the lanterns like floating, and it's like a fucking oil painting or something. Like as you see the lanterns floating through the trees, then obviously the charcoal village was like breathtaking.
And even mundane scenes is like when they're in the second episode where they're in the cabin, the shed, doing their battle plan and like, planning out the thing. The lighting in this, like you see like the spots of the holes in the ceiling, the light shining through and illuminating certain characters.
Of course.
Any other anime series, a lesser, like in the hands of less talented people, this would have just
that is all gonna overlook. Moving on from like the coloring aspects, how characters move. Wow.
Already in the first episode. You're treated to this game of hide and seek. He's playing with the retainers. Where he's running on the ceiling. And you get a sense of both his like weight and personality. He's got a spring in his step. He's twirling his arms. He's so playful in his movements. And the way it's so refined.
Yes.
And then opposed to say his first fight scene when it comes to the his uncle that he's fighting, who's like he's brute strength, and it's an animation thing, but it's kind of this idea of arcs versus straight lines. The uncle is straight lines, straight attacks, while Tokiyuki's arcs, he's going around
flows, exactly.
The way they do handling that, it's so impressive.
And I think what's even more impressive is they really are aware of space and depth in the frame.
Yes.
Like movement, a lot of times in anime is very limited from like side to side, up and down, right? You're seeing like diagonally, like depth in the frame, how he moves in the frame. It's not like two-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's you get to see the whole depth, right? It's like something that you're seeing a master of blocking.
I mean, one of the like scenes that like blew me away, and it's kind of shown a little bit in that first trailer that I saw, when he's got Tokiyuki and the daughter, and it's like, we gotta flee, and he's like, Tokiyuki's like, I want to die, I want to sacrifice my life, and he's like, okay, pushes him off. You see him falling from the point of view,
God.
and then he lands. It's this beautiful like ballet of him flipping through the crowd, and you get like dynamic cuts,
and that's a perfect transition to the editing,
yes.
I mean, I had talked about the match cuts in Free Run. God damn, the match cuts in this show are like at another level. You get this tonal shift, right? The whole beginning of the episode is light and hilarious and dainty. Oh, he's just running from his retainers. His dad is this like drooling puppet like moron, right? Match cut. Oh, the ball to a fucking decapitated head.
Yeah.
It's so like masterfully blended these two periods, like to the like insurrection where there's like absolute like dark brutality from this like light like moment, right? And even like the sound design of that scene where it's like the punk like of the head, you're like,
it goes completely silent.
You're like the editing is another layer of storytelling, really, you know. And it's crazy. And like it makes the tragic death of his brother so much more impactful for this side character, character that we really barely get to know, and it's like you totally understand the inner turmoil and the betrayal, like when he gets that revenge on the uncle and he actually beheads him, and it does the similar match cut with the head and the ball. It's like perfect because you get this tender scene between brothers as like, I avenged you. And then you get to see it. Like you're shown this. Like, what a way to emotionally like satisfy the audience, is to be like, you got your revenge, you know? We're going to talk a little bit about the historical fiction aspect of this. Hilariously, I just watched Princess Mononoke in theaters. So that's also kind of in my mind. And it reminded me a lot of the third episode, about how there's this kind of, I love when these sort of historical fictions kind of blend the like tall tale aspects of like demons and kind of gods and deities, like, and you see that with the pig god, which is just like in Princess Mononoke.
And funny enough, the thing that I was thinking throughout the whole thing was Inu-Oh, and this like
I mean, that's another one.
The war between the Taira and the Heike Monogatari. So I was thinking about the way they throw in like fiction and these more mystical aspects. It's really well done.
I love that, the blending of fiction and reality.
And also like callbacks to classical Japanese art, just like when Tokiyuki first begins to fly. You see that it becomes like a ukiyo-e print, and it's so
I was
beautiful.
gonna bring that up. And so I want to see that this journey better be spectacular. The journey's fun, and the characters have been interesting so far. So that's really the main thing you need to nail with historical fiction, because again, if you kind of know what's going to happen, the stuff that's between point A and point B better be good. You know?
I suppose. Or they could always just go the fate route and say, fuck you, history.
Fuck you, history. Nasuverse, baby.
I'm doing it my way.
It had been prophesied that only the future King of England could draw the sword out of the stone.
I hate you.